Now it's the Echobot product presentation. And before I dive into the product itself, also in a live demo, I wanted to give you a quick overview of our portfolio. So we have currently 4 products working for us. 3 of them on the left, Target, Connect, and Data Care, which we also already call the Sales Intelligence Platform. So going from left to right, we have the Target product, which I will start showing you in a minute. It's a database tool for lead generation and prospecting. So we would go into a company and contact database, put on some filters, find the ICP, so the ideal customer profile, and pull out ideally a list of contacts and companies that you would then try to approach with your sales team. Then those people also need insight on those companies that they should now approach. For example, they need the contact list, they need phone numbers, they need email addresses, but they also need something to open up the conversation in terms of news or information around the company. And this is really where our sales engagement tool, Acrobat Connect, comes in to give you deep insights around any company that is in our database in the European market. We have a third tool called Data Care, which is for data cleansing and enrichment. And this is the use case that customers come in with lots of old data, outdated data in their CRM systems and want to update and enrich that. And this is what we can do. And then we have a fourth product, Echobot Monitoring. This is the one we started with, the oldest product, but still somewhat important because we have a crawling and media monitoring service that is able to pull out like information and news from a lot of online and social media outlets, but also from company websites. So let's look at the product. So you should see my browser now, right? Let's jump into the first product. So I said that we want to run a target search now. So imagine you are a user, maybe that's tasked with a go-to-market motion. Let's say you are in the Munich area and maybe you want to sell forklifts. So if you have a forklift, then you need companies, for example, that have a warehouse. And these are not as easy as to come by as you might think. So what you can see here first is our dashboard. There's some onboarding and enrolling steps. But what we really want to get at is the search feature. This is the meat of the product. We click in here and we are presented basically with the full list of the Echobot database. So there is over 20 million companies in this companies tab, and there's almost 100 million contacts in this contacts tab now. And we want to now find out like which companies are best suited for our use case if we want to sell forklifts to them. So first of all, what I would do is I add a filter and I'm presented with a whole bunch of filters that I can do. Let's first select a regional one and we want to look into the countries. So we have what is called data packs. So a data pack can either be a deep data pack, which has then all the officially registered companies in it. For example, in Germany, 4 million, Austria, 800,000, Switzerland, and so on. UK is from the company's house. But then we also have like EU-wide data, which comes from LinkedIn companies currently. So you also can, for example, find a lot of Finnish companies, so 46,000 of the most important Finnish companies are in there, or for the Netherlands, over 500,000 already. So we can already today use this product for the entirety of Europe, but the data is obviously better in these main data packs where we have the trade register data. So let's first select Germany here, and then it filters it down to 4 million companies. Then we said we are in the Munich area, so let's do that again. But this time not select the regional filter, but actually the radius. So we go here. We would say we are in Munich, which is München in German. So we just say München, we pick the city, we go maybe to 20 kilometers around it, and you will see the area that we are now covering. I could move this around if I wanted to, but let's pick the 166,000 companies that are in this area. So now we have a little bit of a problem because who is actually a company with a warehouse? So the next piece could be, we could think about like companies that typically have a warehouse and try to maybe go to an industry filter and say, what industries are there? Maybe logistics. So type logistics here, and it's suggesting some company codes, or maybe some companies that might have on the logistics space, but that's just 936. So that it's not maybe ideal. So we can do something much cooler. So we go to the company filters instead, and we will search all of the company websites for the name warehouse, so the token, or maybe even the German word for it, because we are in Germany, which is Lagerhalle. So we just type those two keywords, and then we instantly have 3,500 companies. This is a little bit too much, so maybe increase the relevance, which means we want more frequency of those words on the website, and it drills it down to 1,000 companies within the Munich area who have mentioned something about a warehouse on their website. So this is our resulting list. And as you can see here, the second column has appeared where I can look at like where warehouse was actually mentioned on their website. And this is interesting. So they said Gerz Werkstoffe opens a new extension at the headquarters, and they have built a new warehouse of thousands of square feet. And there is even more information about this in their financial statements here. So I already have a very cool list of companies that I could now add to a list and say, well, this is a list for Michael's approach, for example. And then I would select that, save the list, and I could assign it to Michael so he could work on these 1,000 companies. But maybe this is still a little bit too big. So let's say, who are the actual target contacts that we want to reach? So I flip it over to contacts, and you can see that there is over 280,000 people working at these 1,000 companies in the Munich area. So these are quite a few. So let's try to find the ones that are actually interesting to us. And it automatically flips to the contacts filter here, and we do a job title search. And let's say we want something with logistics, but we are not quite sure what it might be. So we let the system suggest things to us. So logistics is the first piece. And then suddenly it appears like there is a logistics coordinator, a logistics project manager. And we also get some clever AI suggestions that don't have logistics in the title, but there's also, for example, the warehouse manager that it suggests, and we can get 28 additional contacts here. So now we are left with a list of 578 contacts, which is quite amazing. So these are the people we might want to go with. And then I can see this list of these people here and go back to the companies. It has drilled down now to 100 companies who are actually employing logistics managers. All right. So next thing would be, as I have assigned this to Michael, I could also export it, for example, into an Excel spreadsheet. But there is a Salesforce export, and what we also have is a LinkedIn export. So you can run a custom target audience on this and do some kind of ABM through LinkedIn. So this is nice. But Michael now wants to sell his forklifts to those companies. So what does he do? And this is where our next product comes in. This is the Acrobat Connect. So whenever I click any company name in the target product, it takes me to the actual profile and details view on that company. So we have firstly the company overview, so company description, some keywords, key figures, address, email, phone number to get to the switchboard, also the Munich area, we also know this. But then again, we have our web crawlers who pick up like information from around the web. So we have various LinkedIn accounts associated with that company. We have YouTube channels, we have a Facebook account, some Twitter channels, and even Instagram posts that get pulled in towards that Zeppelin machines, or Zeppelin machines, basically into this profile. The most interesting piece, though, is probably for most of our customers, the employees list. So what we have here is an overview of who is working here. So there's 741 employees working here. So Michael could then, again, also here, filter down to the logistics manager. So I just deselect those, give me the 10 logistics people. And even if one is not in the house, I can just talk to another one. Or if I choose to now go back to the salespeople, there's 72 of them. They are also classified automatically from their job title by hierarchy. So if I only want top management, I can do that. I can also classify or filter down by area where they work. So there's even 2 Swedes working for that company. So if I speak Swedish, I could just approach them. Okay, so 2 things still. If I now want to know where does the data actually come from, this is very important to us. The data always has a public source or more of them. So what you will see here in the end is like the sources links list. So you can see the LinkedIn links from the people that have a public profile, the Xing links, which is basically a German copy of LinkedIn, and then also the website or homepage links. And there is even some that are called commercial registers. So if it's a director, we then also pull that from the commercial register. You can click on these links also and see where we found the contact details. So in this case, it's on Zeppelin.com, and you then go down and you will see here there's this Roland Redlich guy, and he has actually published his mobile phone number and his email. And in this case, you see first name dot last name at Zeppelin.com. And this is obviously what we then use also for people where we haven't seen the email addresses to calculate what their email address from their name would actually be. And then also there is a little check mark. So we do check regularly the email addresses using an EVA service, email validation service that we have built to see whether it's actually deliverable or not. So we can also pick and choose contacts from here to contact. So what does Michael actually talk about with him? We said he wants to sell them forklifts. So the next section is what we call trigger events or signals. And this is quite helpful if you want to strike up a conversation. So you see 33 several things like new buildings and expansions, lawsuits, change in capital, change in management, construction plans, and you can build your pitch from here. For example, here, Zeppelin realizes the first greenhouse gas neutral branch, and you can use this as an intro to your contact. Lastly, there is some information around the company group. So we can see here that actually Zeppelin machines is 100% controlled by the Zeppelin GmbH. So we just click that and we are taken back to the Zeppelin parent company here with the same information, even more people working here, 673. And if I go down, you can also see the financial of that company. So since this is a consolidated reporting, you will see it on the parent company and you can see the revenue development. And we also pick apart the annual accounts to get interesting metrics on revenue per employee, accounts receivables, and so on. So this is really interesting for finance people, but also for salespeople who want to right-size their offering. So this is the Connect product. And as I mentioned, this works on any company. You can just go in here and then take, for example, any of the multiple Siemens companies. You see they have 30,000 employees. So this is a quick overview of all of our products. I won't go into monitoring today, maybe at a later time, but I hope you liked it. And we feel really proud of what our team has achieved. And I'm quite excited. And the teams have been amazing. Thank you all for helping to build this. And thank you all. Every week we are working on this. We are like getting more excited. And we hope that you are too. And with this, thank you all and have a nice weekend.